Hey there, today we'll be doing this question optimal partition of string on Leetcode. And I hope you have read the question statement, but let's just understand this question statement better with an example. So, coming on to the question, they have said that they'll be given a string. Now, from that string, they are telling us to make as many substrings as possible. Probably the number of substrings has to be the least. Now, the substrings should have only distinct character. That means this substring is having distinct number of characters everywhere. Now, distinct number of character means that any character should not appear twice in that substrings. And if you see, these substrings have been created in such a manner such that no character is appearing twice in them, right? And the minimum number of substring that is required is 4. Now, you might be thinking that why have I not taken this substring, that is AB, and then AC and EB and A. Now this is also valid combination of substrings, but if you see the number of substrings that we are having in this also is 4. So it does not matter how you create the substring, as long as it has the minimum number of substrings, we are good to go. Now, how do we do this problem? So we'll be taking on a two pointer approach, and the two pointer approach says that we'll be having two pointers, obviously I and j, okay, and we'll be having a frequency array, and frequency array says all the frequency of the character. That means how many times a specific character is appearing. Fine. So let's just get onto it. Now, for this I pointer and j pointer, let's just have this right here. So I'll just write this I and j pointer right here. I pointer is here and j is here. As we do the dry run, we'll understand everything. Now, at first, just forget about the I pointer. Let's just go on to the J pointer. Now the J pointer, at first we are at A, right? So we will increase our frequency of A by 1 because we have A once. Now we just move on to the next character, that is B. Now we see B is appearing. No, B has not appeared any number of times till now, but B has just appeared now. So we'll increase the frequency of B by 1. Up till now, everything's good. Now we just move on to the next index. We see that A has appeared one more time. Now we try to increase our frequency by 1, and we see that A has occurred one more time than we require it to be. That means A's frequency is greater than 1. We do not want a substring that is having two A's. So what do we do now? Yes, you have guessed it correctly. We'll now use a two pointer approach. That means we will try to move the I pointer and decrease all the frequencies which the characters it is going over, and we'll try to decrease it until and unless the frequency of A is back to 1 again. Okay, so what we will do, we'll just move the frequency, that is the I pointer, until and unless we have the frequency of A as 1 again. So we move I by 1. Now you see, this is my range, that is B and A, right? And if you see, since we have moved the I pointer by 1, we see that A is now back to 1. That is, frequency of A is now back to 1, which is what we required. Now, if you see that in this process, whenever we are moving I pointer, we are trying to minimize that substring, right? We are trying to make sure that a minimum size substring is also being formed, and also no distinct character condition is also being met. So we move this I pointer once. So right now we have how many substrings? So this is one of them, and this is a continuation, right? A new substring is being formed. So right now we have the substring number to be 2. Right now we'll obviously extend this, but till now we have two substrings, right? So what do we do next? We just move on to the J. Okay, so J is just going forward and creating a substring. And remember, I will only help us whenever a character's frequency is more than 1. Whenever we find a substring having a similar character appear twice, then only we will move this I pointer. That is what I pointer helps us to do. Now we see C is appearing once, which is perfectly fine. So this is our substring range. We can see that. Now we extend this, we go on to this. Now we see A is again appearing. That means it has become 2. What do we do? Yes, we just move the I pointer until and unless the A's frequency is back to 1 again. So we move here. So now you see that B should be decreased by 1, because this is no longer my substring range. This is no longer my substring range. ACA is now my new substring. So what do we do next? We just move I by 1 again. So I will be moving by 1 again. So let's just move this I. Okay, not this way, but yes, this is how we move I. So yes, I is moved now to C. Now if you see, the frequency of A will be back to 1 again. It is now back to 1 again. So let's just remove this, and I and J are here. Now we move on to the next part. That is, we move our J to the next index. That is this part and this one. Why? Because A was already counted right here. Okay. So now we move our J to this index, that is B. Now we have B as 0 right now. B will be increased to 1. So our new substring range is CAB cap. So up until here, there is no such character which is having a frequency of more than 1. So which is perfectly fine. We just move on to this part. That is, J will move to the last index. Now we have a problem again. We see that A is again appearing twice. A's frequency has again become twice. Now what do? We'll try to move this I again, right? We'll try to move this I here. We see, okay, C should now become 0 because this is not my new range. So C will become 0. Now we move our I again to this part, and now I see A is back to 1 again. So that is how we try to decide all of this. And remember, whenever we are trying to move our I to actually adjust our substring, we are always making sure that our substring is being increased. Okay, so this will become 3 and then it will become 4 because this was our first time when we moved our I. This is our second, this is our third, and this is the last time when we moved our I. So this is the whole uh, explanation walkthrough. Now once you see the code, we will be good to go for this one. At first we have declared a map of character and int, and here you can obviously take a frequency array, that means a normal array, that will also do perfectly fine. Okay, that is just a preference, a personal preference, what you want to take. I've taken a map here. Now at first, what are we doing? I've taken ing pointer as we had seen in our explanation walkthrough. And after that, what did we do? Took a count array, that is just taking a measure that, okay, how many substrings are we forming? Now, this is a very pretty small code, right? So let's just get over it. Now, J is less than Z. That means we are having some characters A, B, C. There is J pointer. Until it reaches the end, you just go. Whenever you are meeting a character, what do? We just increase the frequency by 1. Whenever we see a character, we increase its frequency by 1. And if we see that that character's frequency is greater than 1, that means I'm at some point where A is appearing twice. Then what do? We try to move that I pointer. Remember, that is what we are doing in this I while loop, inside while loop. Okay, the inner while loop. If at any given point I see that a substring is having a character appear twice, we will go in this while loop and we increment the count by 1. Count is just saying that how many substrings that I need. After that, what do? I make sure until and unless I have decreased the counter of that element back to 1, I will just move ahead and I will try to decrement the character's frequency by 1. As we saw in this explanation, whenever we were moving I by 1, we were decreasing the frequency of that character by 1 also, right? So that is what we are doing. And at the end of the day, we just increment our J pointer by 1. That is a common thing that we do, obviously, otherwise it will result in a tail situation. And after that, what do? We just return count plus 1. Now why count plus 1? Because remember, we initialized count to 0. That means, let's just say if we have some substring such as, let's just take A, B and C, right? It will never encounter a situation that a element or a character is appearing twice, and we will never have our counter to increase by 1. So that is the reason we at the end of the day return count plus 1, because we were never taking the first substring in our account. Okay, so that is why we always return count plus 1. So yeah, this is it for this one, and if you want the code, it will be linked in the description as well. And thank you for watching.